Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at Sunset Gower Studios in Hollywood. I'm delighted to be joined with Gina and Victor with their movie, Angelica. Let's take a look at the clip.
Angelica?
Just drive.
Thank you so much for being here. Little jet setters who flew in from New York yesterday, went to their event, and then here they are this morning. So thank you so much for bringing Angelica. Welcome back, Victor and Gina, with obviously more than one film you've had with us. But for those that haven't seen Angelica, tell us a brief synopsis.
Sure.
Yeah, Angelica follows the story of a married Latin woman who met an Uber driver during a ride. They fell for each other. When they go to her destination, she asks herself, is this feeling she's having now is worth to chase?
Mm-hmm. So she has to make a decision, okay, shall I go back home or just go into this wild adventure with this charismatic driver? Mm-hmm. For many years in LA, we didn't have a car. Mm-hmm. So we start having a lot of Uber rides. Mm-hmm. And something we wanted to capture was the fact that sometimes you start speaking with an Uber driver, and then we realized that we both have accents, and then, we both speak Spanish, and then like, hey, ¿qué tal? And we all start having a flowing, a really fast conversation. Everything starts flowing, right? And that's what we wanted to capture, like two people that they maybe feel isolated in their own life, and then suddenly come together and just in a tight space in a cab, and what happens after that. Yeah,
it's beautiful. Like I'm dreaming of a ride share like this. Like now I'm like living in her shoes. But this was a really great story because we're in probably one of the biggest like ride share cities in the world. There's this, it's very everywhere you go. And I think as well, I always love those ride shares where your day has changed, right? And so her experience when she gets in there, she's in a very different place to where she finishes, which is such a beautiful seeing that transformation, like 15 minutes. Where did the inspiration come from in deciding this particular story, but then also turning that into a film as well?
Yeah, it's based on our personal experience taking over because they open with you so easily. They talk with you like you are a family member or old friends so easily. We wanted to capture that this is a special connection between two strangers that have this connection just because they share the same roots. Just because of that, when they suffer from homesick.
And especially at the same time, I was reading Madame Bovary, and so that's why we have the quote at the beginning. Like it makes total sense to explore this. How if we make a modern version of an unsatisfied woman, but she's Latina, and with these modern elements like a rideshare app and things like that. So it all came together really well. Something that it was amazing. It was just the cast and the crew, because we shot everything in one day.
In one day. One day.
We were old school, just going there, and so we treat it more like a documentary. Right? But we wanted to look beautiful as well. So it was like a tight balance. So it had to feel natural, not too staged. We started doing the green screen parts in our apartment, our kitchen.
Our apartment,
Really?
In our kitchen, then we went to downtown, and then we went to the desert, and then we came back.
What? In one day?
We did her journey, so it was great for the protagonist, for the actress Elane, because she managed to get the actual journey of the character. So we shot everything chronological because we were chasing the sun.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you know, again, the story in particular as well, like it's sometimes can feel very isolated in this city, you know, particularly you know, if you're an immigrant from another place. And so when you do find that connection the way that she did with him, it's so lovely. There's sometimes in your day when you find a connection with someone that can identify and understand you as well, which was, you know, great. Is that something, I certainly felt that being from England in different respects. Is it nice when you meet other like Venezuelans in the city as well? It makes you feel kind of special, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, it's amazing. We literally were like those characters in terms of like opening up with an Uber driver, and as they were sharing their stories, we were sharing our stories as well. It's not like just one-sided. So that's why we wanted to explore this.
The funny thing or the fascinating part is they don't have to be Venezuelan, just speak Spanish.
Yeah, exactly.
The Latin community is so, I don't know how
welcoming,
I say it. Welcoming, yeah.
Exactly, it's very true.
It's very, well, we were in the Latinx Hispanic festival yesterday, and it's Latino, so we were from different countries, as you were saying, like I mean from
Mexico,
I don't know, Venezuela, Mexico,
Colombia,
Colombia.
It's the same when we start speaking.
What was it like? I mean, it's not always easy to direct a film, particularly in this particular setting as well. Like the majority of the film always takes place in the car. Like, what was it like working with your cast? I loved the two casts they were just fascinating to watch. What was that experience like directing that? So
the challenge for me was to keep it engaging, because you are just in one location. Like, how can we do it different? Like, and I think part of it was a lot of it came into the editing as well. Like I was So it was more about trial and error. Like, how can we make this scene different than the next one, even though, so we shot it differently with different speeds of different frame rates, so we can play slow motion, fast motion. Okay, this is gonna be more about just hearing the sounds of the nature, because we're not in the city anymore. Now we are in the desert, and we just hear birds or something like that. We just hear them walking, and that's why even in the climax, when we have all these surreal elements, we wanted to show this in a different way. A more straightforward approach that maybe will have worked is just them discussing or something like that, but just showing the inner emotions of her, like how she changes, but in a cinematic way. I think that was one of the challenges for us. Especially because we love genre, we love supernatural elements, sci-fi, horror, you name it, but we are noticing that how about if our voice is more like, how about if we apply these genre elements but to show inner emotions of the characters.
Yeah, and you did really, really good. Like the world you took us in was really symbolic, and it was really wonderful to see. If you haven't seen, you got to watch it. You can find out, obviously. But no, one of the things that I thought was also really special is, obviously, I love this. I want to know how that chocolate tasted really good. She really enjoyed that chocolate. Like, I need to know exactly what this was.
Fun fact.
Yes.
One of the hardest things was for the actress to eat the chocolate. She hates chocolate.
That would be me. Yeah, I hear
really?
you. Yeah. I mean, it's so bad, isn't it? I know, but it's so hopefully had a few chocolates on hand.
Yeah.
But you know, I love that was a connectivity. It's almost like she could taste home. It was like really beautiful. You could sort of see it on her face. But I think also one of the things as well that was so special to see is that she took a chance. You know, she took a chance. She decided in that moment to take a chance on an experience in her life. And like, was that something that when you were writing that you wanted to articulate, you know, how you could make a choice that may disappear, but you took a choice and something happened in this sense?
When the intention with the chocolate was, because these chocolates are from Mexico. So they know.
Chocolate.
The chocolate. So when she tasted it, we took a lot of time in the screen in order to show how she tasted home, right? After that, the husband write her send her a text. So she decided to ignore that and go with the flow. And in this moment, I want to enjoy. And this guy in front of her understand her because they speak the same language and also they're close cities. Because in the beginning of the scene, he says he's from Sonora and this is a city in Mexico. She is from what is
Obregon.
it? Obregon. So the fun fact here, they are opposite cities.
Yeah.
They have a
Little banter,
So that's a Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
So they have that in common. So they click because of that.
And it was really interesting in the writing process because I mean we're Venezuelans, but we had these two amazing actors, and especially Jorge. He's from Sonora.
He's from
right?
Sonora.
So he told us like, oh yeah, we hate these guys, and there is a rivalry here, and this is our baseball team and things like that. So it was more organic, the process of writing.
Yeah,
because
that's great.
Even though we had the beats of, we knew where the story was going.
Yeah,
they wrote it like the actors wrote it as well. Like Elena gave us input, like because I mean. In her personal life, she has some elements that we could bring into the character as well, because we're just discovering these characters together.
Yeah,
I think
they are from Mexico. They know better, so they they take a look at the screen and they fix something to make it look more organic and natural, authentic.
It felt it that way. Well, it's not your first time with New Filmmakers, so it's a real pleasure to have you back. Like really, and it's such an honor to see how you've grown as filmmakers. But let's talk about last night. It's obviously one of our most prestigious events of the year. You know, a celebration of Latinx filmmakers with New Filmmakers LA in partnership with the Academy at the Oscars venue with a full packed audience of amazing Latinx filmmakers. How was it last night? How is that feeling? How does that feel?
Yeah,
it was great.
Yeah,
the audience was awesome. Were awesome. People react very well to the films. We knew a new filmmakers. I think the community is getting bigger. It was great. It was fantastic. I can ask for more.
Yeah. No, and like I think one of the key things is just the sense of community, right? That it creates. How you're meeting so many new people, but they're in the same industry and we're close and we didn't know. And then you see their amazing films because the selection was amazing. When we were selected, we were really happy, and then we watched the amazing films. Like, wow, we're so lucky that we got selected because we're with these other amazing
you deserve
films.
it.
But it was, and something that it was interesting is showing it, because we have screened it before in other LA festivals, but this one was the first one that was specific for the Latinx community. And it was great to see that they get the jokes more.
Of course.
It's in Spanish.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Sometimes we were like, oh, these jokes, they don't land. But now they perfectly land because this is the right audience, right? Because
especially if they're from Mexico too, as well. Yeah.
So they understood like all the nuances that went into the writing. And it was really satisfying in that way, that being with an audience that understand it and with amazing films and filmmakers.
No, I mean, the whole program was tremendous. What have you learned mostly individually from making this project?
I would say because sometimes we come with a really strict plan, especially at the beginning. Like we shot everything with our iPhones, like shot by shot, really specific. And
that's a clever move. That's clever. Yeah.
So the planning is already done. Like everything is done. But then you have to be like water, right? And flow, and then realize, this might not be what you have in your mind, but it might be better. So it's that sense of not holding too tight, like you're in a ship, right? And if you hold too tight, maybe you drown. But in the sense of just going with the flow, hearing other people's opinion, like, this might work, this might doesn't. I think that's the most valuable thing, because the other films were more like really strict and oriented with the schedule, but this one, because of the limitations, we had to go more with the flow, hearing people, and the DP was amazing because he was pulling focus.
Beautifully shot as well.
Yeah, but it was just him. He was the whole camera department.
We were lucky that he loved the project and want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I didn't have a screen to watch, but I had to trust him. Like he told me, Victor, this is fine. Okay, if you say it, so that leap of faith that you take with your cast and crew, I think that's what was more great, the experience that I'm more grateful.
And you shot the film one day, and then, you know, for you, Gina, produced, co-wrote, edited. What have you learned from this experience?
So, like he says, you have to go with the flow. Even if you plan ahead, things happen.
Yeah.
We had to cut some scenes because we didn't have the time, so we were chasing the song, so we had to prioritize our shots and everything. So go with the flow. So filmmaking is more about to solve problems, fix problems, problem solve. Yeah, so you have to adapt, be resilient.
Maybe you can talk about the editing, how it changes.
Oh, the editing. Oh, even you made the film in editing too. So you have to change something that didn't work at the time. So you have to adapt the film again, improve a little bit. So
no, totally. Well, we know that you two are going to be making more movies together. So what is next? What is next?
So we are in conversations with a couple of producers regarding developing a thriller, but we're also developing another project we are submitting to grants and everything that it's about a single mother who's having economic problems, and her only son is turning into a bird, like with wings and everything. So it's about the metaphor of leaving the nest. And we both come from single mothers.
So we know the experience of
that feeling.
Struggle. So we really wanted to portray that with a magical element. I think Latinos will have that.
We love surrealism, magical realism.
Of course.
So it's the thing of applying genre-based elements of like fantasy, but into real dramas, character-driven dramas.
And you both do it so well. So you know, seriously, I always love that there's a story, and you always take us into this like fantastical realism element, and I think that's a credit to both of you. So never lose that, because it's great. We are so proud of you at New Filmmakers LA for what you're doing, for who you are, for the film you brought to us. So just thank you for Angelica. You know, enjoy your next rideshare, because you never know what may happen. But no, thank you so much, and we're very proud of you, so thank you.
Thanks.
Gina and Victor, everybody.